Slides.
Distinguished delegates, I will first start some practical items. I would like to thank the public for offering us a great opportunity yesterday evening to move it. Also for excellent food. Thank you very much for organizing the session.
I would also like to remind you about our contest, drawing of whale. We will look at the results at the very end of this meeting, so please use breaks during today to draw something nice, because rewards are really inviting, and to be the best drawer or the most interesting in the whole group is also quite an honor. Now I will start with the official part, so I open the before I do that, thank you, Mark. First, don't forget to take your translation equipment. And then there are 4 of these pieces missing. So maybe you put them in some pockets unintentionally, or they fell somewhere. If you find them, please return them just to the front desk before you leave the meeting and go home, as they will need them for further meetings. Now I will turn to the official part. So I open this afternoon session, morning session. And we will start with the agenda item 15, election of officers. And here we start first with the election of chair. At the end of each regular IWC meeting, mandate of current chair expires and new chair has to be elected. Usual practice in this organization has been that vice chair takes the position of chair. Current vice chair, Mr. Amadou Telivel Diallo, has provided me important support during the last 4 years, and I thank him for this. I would now pass the floor to the Republic of Guinea, having honor to welcome the Honorable Minister for Fisheries and Maritime Economy of the Republic of Guinea, Madame Charlotte Duff. Vous avez la parole. You have to press the button.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'ai ce privilège d'avoir à la tête de notre délégation ici présente la ministre de la Pêche et de l'Économie maritime de la République de Guinée pour porter mon message de remerciement et celui de notre gouvernement. Mais avant ce message, je tiens à féliciter le président André Bibic pour le travail abattu durant ces 4 et difficiles années durant lesquelles il a fait montre de grandes capacités managériales. Je le félicite en plus pour la qualité avec laquelle il a dirigé les travaux de la 66e session et aussi pour son record de longévité comme président de la CBI. Si notre président André était un politicien, on l'aurait classé du groupe de promoteurs de deuxième et troisième mandat. Mais non, nous savons que tous que la COVID-19 est passée par là. Je félicite également le commissaire de l'Australie pour la confiance portée en sa personne pour occuper le poste de la vice-présidence de la CBI. La CBI a ce grand charme. À la 67e session au Brésil, le président qui a dirigé nos travaux était du Japon. Cette année, de la Slovénie et dans 2 ans de la Guinée, puis de l'Australie et ensuite d'Antigua-Barbuda. C'est mon ami. Mesdames et messieurs, durant mes 22 ans de participation à nos sessions, j'ai noté une commission qui travaille d'arrache-pied sur des questions complexes pour les non-initiés, qui fait des résultats surtout dans le domaine scientifique, mais aussi qui vit des difficultés et des blocages. Au cours de ces 2 années à venir et dans la dynamique amorcée, je compte m'investir pleinement pour une sortie de crise pour le bénéfice de toutes les parties. Mesdames et messieurs, la ministre Charlotte Daffé, qui a bien voulu être avec nous aujourd'hui, appartient à cette génération de jeunes managers qui veulent imprimer une nouvelle dynamique dans le développement de nos pays et donner une nouvelle image à l'Afrique. Après son passage avec brio dans le secteur pétrolier en Guinée, aujourd'hui, elle est à l'avant-garde dans la lutte contre la pêche INN dans nos eaux et dans la moralisation de la gestion de nos ressources marines. Elle tient, par sa présence ici, à apporter son soutien et son accompagnement à notre commission. Par son engagement, la Guinée a payé ses 3 ans d'arriérés de cotisation. Le circuit est déjà enclenché. Et une forte délégation de notre pays est ici présente. Et comme il est de tradition dans notre commission de féliciter les personnes qui se distinguent positivement dans la gestion de nos ressources marines, je voudrais qu'on l'applaudisse très fort. Merci beaucoup. Sans plus tarder, et avec votre permission, je vais demander à Madame la ministre de bien vouloir prendre la parole. Je vous remercie.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants du gouvernement de la Slovénie, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres des délégations ici présentes, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du secrétariat exécutif de la Commission balinéaire internationale, Mesdames et Messieurs, en vos grands grades et qualités, tout protocole observé. Je voudrais tout d'abord remercier les autorités de la Slovénie pour l'invitation qui nous a été faite pour prendre part à cette 68e session de la Commission balinéaire internationale et pour toutes les marques d'attention à l'endroit de ma délégation depuis notre arrivée dans ce beau pays. Ma délégation est toute honorée de prendre part à cette rencontre internationale car mon pays attache du prix à la gestion durable des ressources marines vivantes, y compris les ressources baleinières. La République de Guinée, depuis son adhésion en l'an 2000 à la Commission balinéaire internationale, a activement pris part à toutes les rencontres. Mon pays a également participé à la promotion de la science baleinière dans la région des pays africains riverains de l'océan Atlantique à travers le programme de recherche visuelle des cétacés qui a couvert à date l'espace allant de la Mauritanie au Gabon. Le dit programme, financé par notre organisation intergouvernementale ministérielle sur la coopération halieutique entre les États riverains de l'océan Atlantique COMAFAT, suscite aujourd'hui un grand intérêt au niveau de tous les gestionnaires des questions marines de nos pays, ce qui nous condamne à élargir sa zone de couverture. C'est l'occasion de saluer le début d'une bonne coopération entre la Commission baleinière internationale et la COMAFAT suite à la signature hier 20 octobre 2022 d'un protocole d'accord entre les deux organisations. Mesdames et Messieurs, depuis le 5 septembre 2021, notre gouvernement a décidé de redonner à la République de Guinée sa position historique dans le concert des nations par le respect de ses engagements, le respect des droits humains, mais aussi par la protection de la faune et de la flore dont la survie dépendra essentiellement de nos faits et actes de tous les jours. Mesdames et Messieurs, au nom du gouvernement de la République de Guinée, sous le leadership de son Excellence colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, président de la transition, chef de l'État, chef suprême des armées, je tiens à remercier vivement toutes les délégations ici présentes pour la confiance placée en la République de Guinée à travers l'élection de M. Amadou Telivel Diallo à la présidence de la Commission baleinière internationale pour l'exercice 2022-2024. Je reste confiante que la longue expérience acquise par le commissaire de la Guinée au cours de ces années servira de valeur ajoutée pour l'obtention des résultats probants pour notre organisation au cours de son mandat. Pour terminer, je voudrais rassurer l'ensemble des délégations, organisations et commissaires ici présents de la détermination de notre gouvernement et du président de la transition, le colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, à préserver et à gérer de façon responsable les ressources halieutiques et naturelles que nous partageons afin de maintenir la stabilité de la biosphère au profit des générations présentes et futures. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
Thank you very much. We have a proposal for a new chair. To my understanding, there were no proposals during this meeting, no other proposals during this meeting made. So I will ask, can we elect Mr. Amadou Diallo from the Republic of Guinea as the new chair of the IWC? Any objections? I see none. So the new chair is elected. I congratulate you for being elected as a chair. I wish you all the best. And I thank also the minister for the support that will be provided to the first IWC chair from Africa. Madam Minister, thank you also for being here with us. With this, I close the agenda item election of chair. And I move to the agenda item election of vice chair. I would ask if there are any nominations. UK, please pass the floor to the UK.
So firstly, let me congratulate the distinguished commissioner from Guinea for his election as chair. It is also with great pleasure that the United Kingdom would like to nominate the commissioner from Australia, Nick Gales, as our vice chair nomination. Nick has been at the heart of the IWC's work for many years now, showing fantastic leadership. And we believe he would therefore be an excellent choice to take on the vice chair role. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, we heard in the previous meetings of no other nomination. And therefore, I ask, can we elect Commissioner Nick Gales from Australia as our new vice chair? Any objections? I see none. So the new vice chair is elected. I congratulate you, Nick, for becoming the vice chair. I wish you all the best in your new position, and I'm sure that with your extensive experience, you will provide an excellent support to our new chair and to the Secretariat and to the Bureau. Thank you. Do you wish to take the floor? Please pass the floor to Australia.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commission. I start by adding my congratulations to the distinguished Commissioner from the Republic of Guinea, Monsieur Amadou Diallo, to the election of Chair. It's an exciting moment for the Commission, I think. I do thank the Commission for putting their trust in me to take on the role of Vice Chair of the IWC. It really is an extraordinary privilege to be part of the leadership team of this incredibly important organisation. I greatly look forward to supporting Monsieur Diallo and the Bureau for the next 2 years. The Commission faces many challenges in continuing its essential work on the conservation and management of the Globe's whales. I assure everyone that I, supported by the Government of Australia, will do all I can to support Monsieur Diallo and his leadership team to support the great work of this Commission. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nick. With this, we have our chair and vice chair elected, so I close the agenda item 15. Now we need the bureau. So I open the agenda item 16, which is bureau membership. I will remind you that we have 4 additional bureau members to elect next to the chair of the commission, vice chair of the commission, and the chair of F&A committee, who are also part of the bureau by their functions. And I would remind you that we have yesterday adopted. There is no translation. We'll check this. Rebecca, can you? Yes, translators, I will speak just that we can. Okay, translation is working now. Okay, thank you. So we have adopted now new terms for bureau members. Yesterday, we have 2 bureau members that serve for 4 years. And then we have 2 bureau members where each of them serves either for 2 or for 6 years in order for us to get the staggering membership. So one thing we will need to do is elect these bureau members, and then they also have to inform us on the mandate they are to serve, either 2 years, 2 for 4 years, or another 2 or 1 for 6 years. I open the floor for nominations. The floor is open. I pass the floor to Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we went through a very tough period over the last 2 years, and I would like to congratulate the Bureau, the President Bureau, for the excellent work that they have done to keep us together and to look about our business during these trying times. The representative from the Caribbean especially has done a stellar job for us. And I think that we need to ensure, at least from our perspective, that we have that type of representation for the next 2 years. So I would like to nominate the Representative Commissioner of St. Lucia for a 2nd term on the Bureau.
Thank you, Antigua and Barbuda, and thank you for this nomination. We need more nominations. I see none currently. So we still need 3 nominations. If there are still discussions and consultations going on, then I would adjourn this agenda item and invite commissioners to talk among themselves during the coffee break. And then once after the coffee break, depending on how we proceed with other agenda items, but my intention would be before lunch. I would open the floor again. I would open this agenda item again. But I saw Argentina. Please pass the floor to Argentina.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Simplemente en relación a este punto, queríamos señalar que Argentina ha sido miembro del Buró por 2 mandatos consecutivos. Queremos agradecer a usted por la conducción de este órgano consultivo y a los colegas de otras delegaciones con quienes hemos compartido estos años, que han sido especialmente desafiantes teniendo en cuenta las restricciones a las reuniones presenciales. Queríamos informar también que nuestro puesto quedaría entonces vacante. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Argentina. So, distinguished commissioners, please meet in the lunch, in the coffee break within your countries, and try to find proposed bureau members so that we could, before lunch, complete those vacant posts in the bureau. With this, I adjourn this agenda item. Now, let us move to the agenda items that were remained open from yesterday. And that is the agenda item 6, finance and administration. Agenda item 6.3, discussion. And there we still have some elements, some documents to be adopted. I will first list them and then we'll go one by one. We still have open the budget reform strategy. We still have open the IWC strategic principles and terms of reference for working groups on strategic plan. We still have open, and that's very important, our budget proposal. And we still have open our F&A report. So I would first go to the budget reform strategy. Then I would go to strategic plan and the work plan, saying shortly about the document. Then I would go to the budget proposal. And then at the end, we adopt the F&A report. So regarding budget reform strategy that was presented when we opened this agenda item for the first time, there were bilateral consultations, to my understanding, done. There was quite some support for this document. I would pass here the chair of the F&A, Ryan, to inform us about the budget reform strategy and what would be the proposed handling. In the meantime, I will just ask the Secretariat to show the document on the screen, just to remind it about which document we're talking about. Please pass the floor to the US.
Okay. Yes, regarding the budget reform strategy, which you see on the screen, the document has not changed since this was introduced at the beginning of plenary and discussed last week. I'll just very briefly highlight some of the components since delegations have had this document for some time. But the principles regarding budget preparation are balanced budgets, 4-year budget planning instead of 2, with a provisional budget for the subsequent biennium, which of course is not locked in. Aligning the scientific committee budget and work cycles, zero-based budgets, and then costed work plans for its subsidiary bodies, as well as commission proposals. So those are the key components, as well as it relates to modern budgeting and financial management with clear audit trails, roles, responsibility, and accountability and transparency. And you can see this in the document here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ryan. I would try to see if we have a consensus in the room for this document, for adoption of this document. Are there any concerns with the consensus? I see none, so I will propose that we adopt the budget reform strategy document. Are there any objections? I see none, so the document is adopted. Second document that we still have is IWC strategic principles and terms of reference for working group on strategic plan. There was some discussion during previous days in various groups. When we opened the document, there was still some concern expressed, and there was wish to do bilateral work with the delegations who are leading on working group of operational effectiveness. I trust this were done, and I would pass the floor to the US to brief us about the state of the play, and either this document could be adopted or about any other proposals. So floor to the US.
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually going to pass this to the co-chair of the Operational Effectiveness Working Group.
Thank you. So this document presents two options for the Commission to consider regarding work plans and strategic planning. One option is for the Commission to develop work plans, which would clearly identify work priorities and ways of working. And this second option would be to develop work plans, as stated before, and in addition, develop a strategic plan for the Commission. And in terms of reference of a working group that would help develop that strategic plan are included as an attachment. Within the WGOE and then again at FNA, we did not receive consensus on either one of those ideas, but discussions in margins may indicate there might be a preference or might be some consensus on asking the Commission and its subgroups to identify work priorities and ways of working. And so I ask if that is there. And yeah, so it's on page 1, item 6. There you go. I'm sorry. And it would be 6B with what we would propose to agree to.
I will check if this proposal would be acceptable to delegations present here. Are there any concerns in the room by adopting a work plan for the Commission? So the option B you have on the screen. I see no concerns, so I will ask, can we, Republic of Palau, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Mr. Chairman, my delegation is still not very clear on adopting this strategy without approving the entire reform structure, the proposed structure of four committees. We believe the budget or the strategy that would be developed would depend on how the overall structure would be reformed and the terms of reference would be clarified. So could you clarify? Thank you.
Thank you, Republic of Palau. Cambodia, please take the floor.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I'm sorry to move back to the previous about the budget reform because I did not see when the budget reform you go into so what that you go into adopt. This is based on our discussion yesterday or from the original. Because please can you show that, because when we can see the budget reform, it's easier to move to discuss about the work plan.
Thank you. I'll first address this concern. We have two documents today regarding or addressing the budget. One is the budget reform strategy, which is a more strategic document and more long-term document presenting the principles that were presented by the delegation of the US. And the other one is the budget for 2023 and 2024. And the budget, we didn't open as today's agenda item yet. So the budget will not be, has not yet been discussed, and adopting the budget reform strategy doesn't prejudice, let's say, the options that we will adopt in the budget. So if you are happy with this explanation, I would really tend not to reopen the budget reform strategy that was already adopted. Please, floor to Cambodia.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Regarding the question from Palau for clarification, I will make a initial clarification and I'll pass the floor to US. Yesterday, we adopted the document, the first document on operational effectiveness, and the governance reform with the 4 committees was not a part of that document because there was no, there couldn't be consensus reached on that. So this work plan that we have now in front of us doesn't refer to any future change but refers to the structure of the Commission as it is now. And I see nodding from the US and no need for further clarification. If with this your concern was addressed, I see nodding, then I will ask, can we adopt the option 6B, so developing a work plan for the Commission by consent? So, okay, Antigua and Barbuda, please take the floor.
Yeah, just for some clarity from the United States delegation or the co-chair of the WGOE. On option 6B, can we explain the reasoning behind of the WGOE or whatever body identifying work priorities? I can see that there's a generic way of developing a work plan, but the identification of priorities could invite a little bias. So before we could decide on 6B, I'd like to have some more clarity with regards to the thinking with respect to identification of work priorities.
Thank you, Antigua and Barbuda. US, are you ready to provide an answer?
I will attempt to. I believe the thinking would be that the existing work groups would identify their work plan, and which through their reporting process up to the Commission would be approved, and that would be the way the Commission would approve priorities. Or so hopefully that makes a little sense.
Thank you. If this answer addresses your concerns, then I would, please the floor to Antigua.
Antigua and Barbuda would be more comfortable with something that can be more general rather than so specific, because they're identifying work priorities. I hear the co-chair, but my concern is that this is one of the most critical problems that we're having in the organization. And we have to put a little bit more thought into that aspect of 6B in terms of clearly defining what identification of work priorities mean.
Thank you. To my understanding, okay, I pass the floor first to the US, please, for reply.
Yes, what I'm hearing is that we do not have consensus in the room for this, and therefore the working group can consider this as a long-term item that it would continue to look at in its work.
Thank you. So we have a proposal that this document in its current form is not adopted now, but that the working group on operational effectiveness in the intersessional period further addresses and works on this item. Can we agree on this? Are there any concerns with this proposal? I see none. So this document will be worked further on in the intersessional period by the working group on operational effectiveness. With this, I close this matter, and now we have the budget proposal. So I'm talking about the biennial budget for the years 2023 and 2024. And yesterday in the afternoon, there was a new document posted on the web. So Rev 2, BSC/68/5.3/01/Rev 2, with additional options. And I would pass the floor to the chair of the budget subcommittee, Australia, to explain those changes. This floor is yours, Australia.
Thank you, Chair. So as noted, the balanced budget paper has evolved over the course of this week, and the final suite of options is presented in the revised paper you see on the screen. This paper presents the same three options originally put forward by the Budgetary Subcommittee and the Finance and Administration Committee, plus two additional options which reflect the feedback we have heard over the course of the week. As you mentioned under the last item, Chair, the Commission has not agreed to a new committee structure as proposed by the Working Group on Operational Effectiveness at this meeting, so the options presented are based on the current Commission structure. The first, as you can see on the screen, is option 1, which remains unchanged. This option proposes addressing the deficit in the next biennium entirely through savings, by reducing expenditure by 8% in 2023 and a further 2% in 2024. These reductions would likely have severe impacts to the Commission's business, including significant changes to Secretariat staff contracts, or 2 to 3 redundancies, a significant cut to the research fund, and moving to biennial scientific committees in the subsequent biennium, but not allowing for any in-person intersessional workshops, except where necessary to provide advice in relation to Aboriginal subsistence whaling. It is important to note that these cuts would only balance the budget in the immediate biennium, and more reductions or contribution increases would need to be agreed at IWC69 once pandemic savings have been exhausted. If we can move across to option 1.5, this provides a middle ground between options 1 and 2. Under this option, contributions for capacity to pay groups 3 and 4 countries would increase by the amounts proposed in option 2, which is 5% in 2023 and an additional 1% in 2024. Contributions would not increase for capacity to pay group 1 and 2 countries for the next 2 years. Proposed savings would still result in impacts to the Secretariat, research and meeting budgets, but the additional income from capacity to pay group 3 and 4 countries will mean the impacts are less severe than under option 1. In particular, a lower reduction to the research budget is proposed, and cuts to the Secretariat staffing budget will be less severe. This option will balance the budget for the next biennium, but as with option 1, the level of contributions and the distribution of fees will need to be revisited at IWC69. If we can move to the next page, please. So, as submitted in Rev 1 earlier in the week, the original option 2 has now been split into 2 sub-options. Option 2A is the original proposal to increase income for all members by 5% in 2023 and an additional 1% in 2024. Option 2B proposes no increase in 2023 and a 6% increase for all members in 2024, allowing members an additional year to factor the increase into their national budgets. Again, additional adjustments may be required at IWC69 once pandemic savings have been exhausted. And finally, if we could move to option 3, this option has remained unchanged. It proposes resolving the deficit entirely by increasing income. At this point, if we could please go back to the top of the paper, I would like to draw attention to the decision points that have been requested of the Commission. So going slightly out of order here, sorry, the Commission is requested to adopt one of the 5 balanced budget options presented. If option 1, 1.5, 2A or 2B were adopted, the Scientific Committee would need to transition to biennial meetings from 2025 onwards, after a transition period of annual meetings in the next biennium. The Budgetary Subcommittee recommends the Commission change Rule B3 in the Rules of Procedure from the Scientific Committee shall meet annually to the Scientific Committee shall meet at least biennially. This will allow greater flexibility in the scheduling of Scientific Committee meetings in line with current and future budget needs, while not being restrictive should the Commission decide to return to annual Scientific Committee meetings at a future time. After the separation of some of the Finance and Administration proposals yesterday, we have also brought across the recommendation that the Commission grant the Secretariat additional flexibility to accept offers on the Red House. And this has been brought across just to make sure it doesn't get missed. As noted in the budget paper, if the Red House sells in the next biennium, it will not resolve the issue of income not matching expenditure, but it will improve the Commission's cash flow situation, and there will be some meaningful reductions in operational and maintenance costs, which may influence the further adjustments considered at IWC69. Finally, I would like to thank the Commission for adopting the budget reform strategy. Principles such as zero-based budgeting will allow the Commission to more effectively consider how expenditure across all budget categories aligns with its agreed priorities going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Australia. To my understanding, we are not, I'm not sure if we are at the point where we could agree on one of the options by consensus. Therefore, I would just ask Australia to explain one more thing, and that is in their view, as you are holding those consultations, which option in your view has the largest support?
Thank you, Chair. So I believe option 2 continues to be the Budgetary Subcommittee's recommended option. However, we have heard quite a few pieces of feedback over the course of the week that capacity to pay groups 1 and 2 in particular would find it very difficult to raise their increases as proposed under option 2, given the current global situation. For that reason, we feel that option 1.5 is the option around which consensus is most building. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Australia, can you please put option 1.5 on the screen? And I would first check with delegations if there are any concerns with this option, and you have to read this option together with the decision part. So Australia, please correct me if I'll summarize something wrong, but there is an increase of fees by 5% in 2023 and increase of fees by another 1% in 2024. But this increase is only for capacity to pay countries 3 and 4. And the expenditure will be cut, so costs of the Commission will be cut by 6%. So I will check if there are concerns with this option, or we could potentially go for adoption of this budget option by consensus. And I also would like to explain that the Commission is adopting biannual budget, so budget for 2023 and 2024. We are not adopting a budget for 2025 and on. We never did for a longer period. So therefore, what we decide concerns the years 2023 and 2024. And I pass the floor to Antigua and Barbuda.
Yes, clarification. If we go back to the top of the presentation, Australia, with regards to the proposed agreed recommendation as it relates to the sale of the Red House, that is all a part of agreeing to the budget itself, or that is separate to the option that you're giving us?
Thank you for that question. I would defer to the chair of the Finance and Administration Committee if you would like to speak to this in more detail. But I would suggest that these are taken sort of sequentially.
Yes, I would concur with that. This is a separate item in the Finance and Administration report, but important to confirm we have consensus on this. So it is separate from the biennial budget.
Thank you. Antigua.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, please advise of your preference with regards to the budgetary option to agree to that now, and then we revisit that, because Antigua and Barbuda have some issues with regards to the Red House situation. And if we can agree to the option, that whichever option we want to choose, and then with an understanding that we will come back to that proposed recommendation.
Yes, thank you. As I explained in the beginning, and I understand that there are a number of items in the FNA report, and you cannot know by heart which are where. After we hopefully agree in one or another way on budget, we would still come to the adoption of the FNA report, and the sale of the Red House is currently part of that report and part of adopting then, or adopting with amendments, or whatever Commission decides to do of that report. I hope that answers. Please floor to Antigua and Barbuda.
I don't want to delay this process, Mr. Chair, but in listening, I was hearing that the proceeds derived from the sale of the Red House would in somewhat assist us with balancing our budget, even though it would not be significant enough to move us beyond a certain year or a certain period. So I don't know if it's tied, but so if it's tied, perhaps we can talk about it now. If it's not tied with the budget, Antigua and Barbuda is prepared to let us quickly approve the budget and then revisit this, or deal with this now and then approve the budget.
Yeah, I will answer that one because maybe it's easiest. I have the secretariat here with me. The sale of the Red House would have an impact, basically a positive impact on operational costs, because currently there are quite some costs in the cost part of the budget connected to the maintenance of the Red House and everything that goes with it. And it would help with the cash flow, but it's not that money from the sale of the Red House would be within this budget. If that helps you. Please, floor to Antigua.
With that explanation, Antigua and Barbuda will reserve its comments and propose recommendation with the sale of the Red House so that we can give priority in our deliberations to the budget now. But I ask if it pleases you, Mr. Chair, that we revisit that proposed recommendation afterwards.
Thank you. In terms of process, that was already planned that way, so it can be done. As I see no concern, I'm tempted to propose the adoption of the modified option 1.5, including then the decision part or the text. Sorry, you have to press the button, but it doesn't work. Italy. I have Cambodia and Italy.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I thought that the proposal 1.5, I thought that we said that increase 5% in the year 2020, the year 2023, and 1%. Okay, more. Yes. Increase to 5% in 2023, 1% in 2024. This capacity pay country in the group 3 and group 4. In group 1 and group 2 is not. Okay.
Thank you. And I have Italy. Please pass the floor to Italy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, since it's the first time we take the floor, Italy would like to thank the government of Slovenia for their outstanding hospitality. As you heard a few times in the previous days, Italy has, at this stage, cannot accept any increase. Therefore, we cannot really accept this option either. And we are very sorry to break the consensus on the budget, and perhaps without, if this has to be put to a vote without going through the long preparation for the electronic vote, we could simply raise our flag and be the only one voting against. And if that is the case, I would ask then for the floor to explain a little bit our position.
Thank you, Italy. US, please take the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have a comment on the budget options. We can support any option or variation there of one of two. I just have a very small clarification I'd like to make regarding the scientific committee. Just a little unclear when I read the language from 2025 onwards. We fully support the move to biennial scientific committee meetings, but as you've heard from our delegation, as well as a number of delegations at this meeting and in finance administration, it is critically important to the management of Aboriginal subsistence whaling at this subcommittee that when the scientific committee moves to biennial meetings, that those biennial meetings are aligned with the commission years. So just clarifying that while that says 2025, this would actually be a biennial scientific committee meetings in 2024, 2026, 2028, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, US. I'm glad that also native speakers sometimes have challenges to understand themselves. Now, we heard one country with this concern, and there was also a proposal for a bit modified voting procedure. We have quorum in this room definitely now, and we have heard only one country that will vote against, and we've heard I presume that all other countries can then either support or abstain, and I will check if my presumption is correct. Costa Rica.
Gracias, señor presidente. No, más bien yo quería solicitar su asesoría a ver si Costa Rica entiende esta opción claramente. Este es un documento que no hemos tenido suficiente tiempo de analizar y por eso necesitamos clarificación. El aumento en las cuotas para el 2023 sería de un 5% para todos los países, países 1, 2, 3 y 4.
No.
Okay.
All the increases are only for countries in capacity to pay group 3 and 4. Floor to Costa Rica.
Gracias. Sí, es que definitivamente no queda claro, porque dice increase fees by 5% in 2023. Uno podría interpretar que es para todos. Y después se hace en 2024 solamente para capacidad de pago de 3 a 4, los grupos 3 y 4. Entonces creo que si se puede agregar algo para aclarar. Gracias.
Thank you, Costa Rica. It's clearer if one reads the decision part of the document. Here, I presume the authors wanted to be short in this announcement. Therefore, here what is relevant is the decision part of the document. Maybe we can move once more up to the decision part just to show it clearly. I want to say the decision regarding the Red House, the relevant decision will be the one that we will discuss in the adopting when discussing the FNA report. I see no other concerns. And I must say I'm flexible. Usually in this organization, we apply this, let's say, quite lengthy procedure for voting. And if a single delegation has a problem with doing anything simpler and wants to challenge this, I have no problem going to a normal vote. We will need, the Secretariat will need some time to prepare for this. And I presume suggestion from Italy was that we simply save some time, but I don't want to create any procedural or precedent in this context. So again, if there is anybody not comfortable, I must say I also didn't take a decision myself yet with this simplified procedure. Then we go for a normal procedure for a vote. I see Ghana.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to follow up on the question by Cambodia. We don't see capacity to pay group 1 and 2 on the screen. Is there some explanation for that?
It says fee increases for only capacity to pay groups 3 and 4 from 2003 onwards next year. So maybe we need to say I hope this is clear. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Brazil, please take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now I see that there is an increase of 5% from next year by the capacity to pay countries, and I would like to know where is that money going to? If it's going to the Secretariat, I think we need an explanation why the Secretariat needs more budget. I expect that this increase would strengthen the scientific committee that needs to work, that does a practical and significant work for the Commission. And I would avoid, but our position, we're not against the proposal, but our position is that we have to diminish the bureaucracy in the Commission itself. And also I wonder, the proposal says 1 day less of meetings. I don't know if we can also cut 1 more day, let's say 2 or even 3 days less. It's been a long meeting with very few results, practical results. The only one that I can remember is the plastic resolution that is significant. Otherwise, we have been here for 7 or 9 days, I don't know how long. And I really don't know what we have decided here that is substantive and significant for the marine life and also for whales, cetaceans, and so on. So I think that we have to reflect on that. I think we have to be more objective and more productive. And we need an explanation to our countries and to the taxpayers in our countries. What are we financing here? More bureaucracy, travels, trips, every 2 years, to do what? So I would like an explanation of how the money is going to be applied, and I would not like it to see more money for the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you. On the screen, you have in one line the so-called status quo budget. So if the currently adopted budget is just rolled over, and then you have for the proposed option, you have savings and you have proposed budgets. So with the staffing costs, there is a decrease of a sum. For staff benefit costs, there is a decrease. Everybody can see it on the screen. For travel and bureau meeting costs, there is a decrease. Also for all the meeting costs, there is a decrease. And there is a decrease to the research budget cost. Now, we were discussing during the previous days what an important work is done by the scientific committee, and scientific committee is supported by the staff. Scientific committee meets and does its important work, but these meetings have to be prepared. They have to be facilitated. This is done by the secretariat staff. The same applies for commission meetings. There are people working that we can meet here, that we have all the facilities, that all the work is done, that we can daily have these documents, etc. I will underpin that science done by the scientific committee supports also the work that is then done by the conservation committee, which is of great importance to my understanding to a number of countries here. And all those activities that were presented previously, all the initiatives on reducing bycatch, on addressing underwater noise, on entanglements, etc., they cannot be done without this part. So that's how I fully understand your concern. I'm aware, I also come from a government, and we have to, let's say, defend or justify every euro we put somewhere. So your question is completely the right question. But here, during the intersessional period, there was already a lot of work done on how to come to some possible compromises. Then during the budget subcommittee meeting last week, there has been a lot of work done, and then every day now, based on bilateral consultations, there was also a lot of work done to come to this part, and everybody of us who was also responsible for some staff members will know that decreasing cost for staff is also a difficult decision. Today, what we will do here is a difficult decision. I have to say, we are all taking a very difficult decision with this budget adoption. So I understand that you are all sometimes feeling uncomfortable, but if we want to go forward, we have to take these difficult decisions. I hope I have addressed some of your concerns, and if there's some more questions, also the Secretariat can help. Please pass the floor to Brazil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You have addressed it very well. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you and Slovenia for receiving us so gently, so kindly here this time, and for your conducting of the meeting, which I think was very well done. But concerning the number of days, I don't want to spoil anybody's vacation, but I think we could reduce from instead of one to 2 or 3 more days, reduce the meetings to a shorter period and make it more speedily in a way that we can address real issues and avoid bureaucratic items that unfortunately take the place of the most important ones. So this is a position of principle from Brazil. And of course, we're not going to find a solution now, but I just would like to make it clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brazil, for your views, and this shortening of the meeting for 1 day is already a way into the direction that you are proposing. Any other concerns? And in the meantime, I was informed that actually our rules of procedure allow simply vote by raising of hands. So I would tend to do it the way Italy proposed. Thank you. Then I would first simply start by asking if we can adopt the proposed budget option 1.1 that is presented within the document.
1.5.
So, yeah, I said option 1.5. Yeah, the option 1. Just show me the title. The modified option 1.5 in the document BSC/68/5.3/02/Ref2 and the decision part of that document. So the rest then will be cleared in the final document. I ask that countries who are in favor of this decision just raise their flags and we'll count them. Please raise them a bit higher so that
Yes, go.
I counted for. Excellent idea. Please just push those who are voting yes, just push your mics. Yeah, sorry, we are all learning. And I'll kindly ask technicians to count. It's okay, it's okay. The list is there. It's fine. Okay, we might have some challenges that the system doesn't allow so many, so please clear it. And I will go the other way around. I will ask who is against. Okay, one. Who is abstaining? None. So I will conclude that all the others voted in favor. And with this, we have the budget adopted. And you deserve a coffee break. So I adjourn. Any issues? Apologies, Italy will be given an opportunity to read the statement. Just this one, and then you will have the right for coffee break. Italy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to take the floor actually to certainly explain and clarify that Italy didn't vote. I mean, our vote should be interpreted as a negative evaluation of the incredible, thorough and patient work done by Australia, while leading the budgetary subcommittee, and we really value what they did, particularly the patience of Adam. We have been giving him lots of troubles, and I think he deserves even an applause only for him. I'm sorry about it.
Thank you. And now you deserve the coffee. So I adjourn the session, and I adjourn agenda item 6.3. we still have to deal with the last agenda item on the agenda, item 6.3, which is finance and administration, and that is to finalize our discussion on the draft report of the Finance and Administration Committee and actions arising. I just wonder if somebody from the Secretariat please can ask people to enter the room, because we are lacking quite some delegations from different parts of the world. I would just give them a few minutes to enter. In the meantime, I would use the time to pass to Rebecca for a practical announcement.
Thank you, Chair. Just a reminder that the deadline to enter the contest, the whale drawing methods and associated bonding initiative, is at the end of this session plus 30 minutes. So if we end at 12:30, the deadline is 1 o'clock. You can drop these off at the Secretariat. We already have some very exciting entries and we thank you for your participation.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, the room is more complete, still not enough, but more complete. It's getting even completer. So the last thing we have to do is to, under the agenda item 6.3, to adopt the draft report of the Finance and Administration Committee and endorse actions arising. In the previous session, we heard a desire to have a discussion on a part of it and potentially amend it. That's the document that is in front of you, IWC68/rep/FA/1. And I would not really open the floor for the presentation because it has been already presented. I would open the floor for interventions as promised in the morning part of the session. So the floor is open. And as said, the sale of the Red House is part of this report. So if there is any need for any changes, if not, I will ask if there are any concerns with adopting this report and endorsing the actions arising. I see no concern, so then I will ask, do we have any objections to adopt the report? No? Then the report is adopted. And with this, I can close the agenda item 6.3 and 6.4. As for any other agenda item that includes reports, we have also agenda item, any other matters. So if there are any other matters, I open the floor. There are no other no requests for the intervention. So with this, I close the agenda item 6. And before returning to the Bureau, I would actually open the agenda item 18, which is future IWC meetings. And there we have agenda item 17.1, which is confirmed events. And we need a commission meeting to take place in 2024. And during the committee meetings, there was a proposal for hosting expressed. And if this proposal is currently valid, I would pass the floor to proponents. Please pass the floor to Peru.
La delegación del Perú agradece a Eslovenia por organizar esta reunión y asimismo desea reiterar el ofrecimiento del gobierno peruano a través del Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores para organizar la próxima reunión de nuestra comisión en 2024 en la ciudad de Lima. Además de contribuir con el importante trabajo que realiza la Comisión Ballenera Internacional, esperamos recibirlos a todos ustedes con los brazos abiertos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Peru, for this offering. And I ask if there are any other, by some chance, if there are any other proposals. I see none. So I ask, can we welcome the hosting of the meeting of Peru in Lima and can adopt this? Yes. Thank you very much. Peru, I trust you will be working closely with the Secretariat, and I'm sure we will have an excellent meeting and also a very good vibe in that meeting in Latin America. Thank you very much. Then we need to have hosts for scientific committee in the year 2023 and in 2024. For the scientific committee in 2023, I will pass the floor to Executive Secretary.
Thank you, Chair. The SC meeting for 2023 will be held in Bled, Slovenia. We just love this country. And the dates are 24th of April to the 7th of May. 24 April to 7th of May. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Rebecca. And then we also need a host for the scientific committee in 2024. And There was also during the committee meetings at the beginning of the week, there was a proposal also for hosting of that meeting. And if that is still valid, yes, I pass the floor to Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Antigua and Barbuda considers the scientific committee deliberations to be of critical importance to the meeting of the commission, and in keeping with the good hospitality of the Americas, I would join in a celebration with Peru to have the scientific meeting held in Antigua June 2024 as we move our way into Lima. So if it pleases the commission, Antigua and Barbuda is inviting the commission to host the meeting in 2024 of the scientific committee in Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you very much, Antigua and Barbuda, for that kind offer. Any other proposals that would appear in the meantime? I see none. So can we welcome the next two scientific meetings, one held in Bled, Slovenia, and the other in Antigua and Barbuda? So we adopted also these decisions. And with this, under the agenda item 17, we don't need the next one, which is called for hosts. And with this, I close the agenda item 17. I would like to check if we made some progress regarding the bureau members. So therefore, I would open again the agenda item. That's still on the previous one, I presume, the intervention of scientific committee. Sorry, I didn't see you. So let us return to future IWC meetings before going to the bureau member. Please, floor to scientific committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just wanted to thank Antigua and Barbuda for the offer to host the scientific committee in 2024, and we certainly look forward to meeting at the beautiful country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let us move back and open the agenda item 16, bureau membership. And I open the floor for proposals. Brazil, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We learned that in the case of Buenos Aires group, in the case of regional representation at the Bureau, there may be this possibility of a re-election. Brazil is very grateful to the hard work, the coordination abilities Argentina has been delivering in the Bureau and with our Latin American countries in the context of the Buenos Aires group. So in case we can confirm that there would be this possibility of re-election, of course, for a for a period of 2 years with no extension, we would warmly and even recommend that Argentina stays as the Buenos Aires group, if they are, of course, in agreement with us in the Bureau. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Brazil. And let us hear the other proposals and then come to 2 years that a certain country serves in the Bureau. Thank you. I have UK followed by Côte d'Ivoire.
So thank you, Chair. So after one term, but spread across 4 years in this case, the United Kingdom intends to step down from the Bureau, and we would like to nominate Belgium. Thank you.
Thank you, United Kingdom. Côte d'Ivoire, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. La Côte d'Ivoire voudrait féliciter le Président et remercier le secrétariat dont le législatif nous a permis d'obtenir les résultats pertinents de cette réunion. La Côte d'Ivoire voudrait féliciter la Guinée et l'Australie. Et la Côte d'Ivoire souhaiterait proposer le Ghana pour participer aux travaux du bureau. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. I have Benin followed by Dominican Republic.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Et étant donné que c'est la première fois que le Bénin prend la parole au cours de la journée, je voudrais joindre ma voix à celle de mon prédécesseur pour féliciter la Guinée et l'Australie pour la brillante élection à leurs différents postes. Et je souhaite que le mandat soit fructueux. Et étant donné que la proposition du Bénin vient d'être déjà faite, donc le Bénin n'a plus grand-chose à dire. Merci.
Thank you. Dominican Republic followed by Czech Republic.
Gracias. La República Dominicana, un estado isleño de las Antillas Mayores, participa en los principales acuerdos e iniciativas ambientales del territorio del Gran Caribe entre los países de Centroamérica y América Latina. Apoyamos la propuesta de que la Argentina forme parte del Bureau, ya que nuestra representación está en el Grupo de Buenos Aires. Gracias.
Thank you. Czech Republic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And Czech Republic is speaking on behalf of the EU member states, party to the convention. Regarding the Bureau membership, we would like to support also Argentina to stay 2 more years in the Bureau, if possible. And we would also like to support Belgium, our dear colleague Stephanie Langerok, to be elected as a Bureau member. And Mr. Chair, if you allow me, I would like to take this opportunity and thank you for your excellent work and wise decisions during the last 4 years. It was very challenging, but done in an excellent way. So thank you very much. And my personal thanks, if I may. I would like to congratulate you on behalf of the Czech presidency to the Council of the EU for your personal dedication and exemplary leadership. Thank you very much, Andrei. And if you allow me one more point, I would also like to wish the newly elected chair, Mr. Amadou Diallo from the Republic of Guinea, and elected vice chair, Nick Gales from Australia, all the best to both. You know that you can count on the support of the EU and its member states, and we are very much looking forward to our future cooperation. And last point, what I would like to raise is that we also, on behalf of the EU member states, would like to express our gratitude and thanks to the government of Peru, very kind offer to host the next Commission meeting in 2024. And we are looking forward to meeting you all in Lima, and also join previous speaker and express our thanks to government of Slovenia for hosting next scientific committee meeting next year in Bled, and thanks Antigua Barbuda to host the next scientific meeting into 2024. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much for all your kind words. So we have 4 countries for the Bureau, and for better understanding on the periods, I will just repeat if that is the correct understanding. I'll go simply alphabetically. And please intervene then if what I will say is not exactly what you meant. Argentina will serve for 2 years. Belgium will serve for 6 years. Ghana will serve for 4 years, and Saint Lucia will serve for 4 years. And with this, we also have a staggering participation. I would also check if that is the correct implementation of that rule that we just adopted. Floor to US, please.
I think that's consistent with the rules of procedure we just adopted. I don't think you necessarily need to have a 2 or a 6 and a 6. You could have 2 that are 2 years or 2 that are 6 years. But you could also do it the way you just proposed.
Thank you for that clarification. So any changes to these periods? I wanted to make it clear. I presume the implementation can be done also later if there will be a need to change the timing. Just that for the moment we have that that we have set it currently. So let me repeat and let us take a decision that we have a new bureau that is led by chair, Mr. Amadou Telivel Diallo from Republic of Guinea, by vice chair, Mr. Nigels from Australia, by the chair of Finance and Administration Committee, Mr. Ryan Wolf from the United States. And we have 4 countries representing array of regional distribution, and that is Belgium, Argentina, Ghana, and Saint Lucia. Can we adopt this decision? Any objections? No. So a new bureau is elected, and with this, I'm fully relieved that my colleagues who have strongly supported me in this mandate as a bureau members have done their last task. And here I would like to use this opportunity to thank you all wholeheartedly for all the support that you were giving me and all the advice you were giving me during the last 4 years. And when speaking about functioning bureau, I would also like to thank chair and vice chair of the scientific committee who also participated, and whenever it was needed, they also provided their support. The chair and vice chair of the conservation committee. Thank you very much. I note especially strong support that I was receiving all the time from the chair of the FNA committee. And in these challenging times, the chair of the budget subcommittee, as in last year. That was one of the most demanding tasks that I had to deal with in the interim period. And the chairs of the working group on operational effectiveness, the co-chairs actually, they also provided a strong support. So I would kindly ask a big applause on, let's say, my behalf to all of them. Thank you very much. With this, we have closed the agenda item Bureau membership 16, and we have another agenda item 18, other matters. So I open that agenda item. If there are any requests for any interventions under this agenda item. And I pass the floor to Brazil, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to read a statement in the name of the Latin American countries, but specifically the name of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. There we go. Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay reiterate their firm commitment to strengthen cooperation in the South Atlantic with regards to the conservation of cetaceans and further activities deriving from conservation initiatives. We remain committed to creating a source aimed at offering other South Atlantic nations a reference point to enhance regional awareness, capabilities, and research on cetaceans, including through the development of income-generating activities such as whale watching. Thank you.
Thank you, Brazil.
But I would like, further to this statement, I would like to make a comment that I want to register our disappointment with some delegations that yesterday have left the room when the item of the source was open for debate and eventually voting. We want to register our disappointment with all those countries which are developing countries and countries that are very aware of the challenges that we have to face as humanity in general in the next years to come regarding climate changes and the extinction of species. I think that it surprises me that the developing countries that that host most of the biodiversity in this world. Brazil, for instance, hosts 22% of the biodiversity in the world. And I'm sure that African countries have the same amount of biodiversity, of forests that we have to preserve, resources in the sea that we have to preserve. When we talk about food security, we are talking about preservation of the environment, because otherwise there will be no food for all of us, because the climate will change in a way that there will be desertification, that there will be floods, and so many natural disasters that are already occurring. And I expected from developing countries that they were committed to this cause, since they are the backbone of the environment that remains in the planet Earth, because in the northern hemisphere, most of the forests have been devastated. The industrialization has destroyed much of the nature. So I expect from developing countries a firm commitment regarding the environment. And I was disappointed to see a behavior that was not even dignifying, because we didn't even discuss and addressed as delegations an item that we were supposed to address together, to debate, and to eventually to vote and approve or not approve, but at least to face the situation. And I want to register the disappointment of the delegation of Brazil with that behavior. And I expect that in the future we can debate in good terms proposals that are so important for the world and for our environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brazil. And your interventions will be included in Chair's report. I pass the floor to Colombia.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to thank your work. I've seen how hard it's been throughout these 2 days I've been here. And I would like just to declare in the name of Colombia the following words. Colombia, como potencia mundial de vida, reitera su compromiso con la protección de los recursos naturales y la conservación y uso sostenible de la biodiversidad, en particular de las especies sombrilla, como lo son los cetáceos. Colombia reitera su apoyo y su compromiso con la propuesta para el establecimiento de la creación del santuario de ballenas en el Atlántico Sur, que ha sido presentada reiteradamente por los gobiernos de Argentina, Brasil y Uruguay y que se ha sido defendida con coraje. Colombia, en una lógica constructiva, apoya el trabajo de la Comisión Ballenera Internacional y en particular de su comité científico y de su comité de conservación. En ese sentido, hacemos un llamado a la búsqueda de mecanismos que permitan la continuidad de sus actividades y sus aportes a la humanidad. Colombia adhiere al reconocimiento que la Comisión Ballenera Internacional es el principal foro internacional para la conservación de los cetáceos. Al respecto, nos sumamos a las delegaciones del Grupo de Buenos Aires en el rechazo a las medidas obstruccionistas de naturaleza procedimental que buscan menoscabar e impedir el debate y la toma de decisiones al interior de la Comisión. Hacemos un llamado respetuoso a todas las delegaciones a no sustraerse a sus responsabilidades y menos aún a los espacios decisorios. Colombia seguirá fortaleciendo su trabajo, esperando que sus discusiones aporten a una mayor claridad sobre la noción de quórum y la regla de procedimiento B1 y que la propuesta resultante sea abordada como primer punto en el orden del día de la sesión número 69 de la comisión que se tendrá en Perú y aprovechamos para agradecer a Perú de acoger la próxima comisión. Gracias, presidente.
Thank you. I have Antigua followed by Argentina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield my turn to the distinguished representative of Argentina and reserve the right to respond.
Thank you. Argentina, followed by Mexico.
The same, Mr. Chairman. I'm waiting for the distinguished delegate for Antigua and Barbuda in order to reply to his always wise interventions.
Then I pass the floor to Mexico.
Bueno, me toca a mí. Gracias, señor presidente. También quiero aprovechar para, a nombre de México, agradecerle la dedicación, la inteligencia y elegancia con la que dirigiste esta comisión en tiempos confusos y complicados. No solo mostraste tus habilidades en las reuniones virtuales de comunidad, sino también en esta última que fue, como ya señalaron algunos colegas, complicada. Y nomás señalar también que le damos la bienvenida a Amadou y a Nick, con todo cariño, y asociarme de todo corazón con la declaración que acaba de leer Brasil y también con lo señalado por Colombia. Gracias.
Thank you. Now my list is empty. I have Argentina.
Gracias, señor presidente. En primer lugar, mi delegación se asocia a lo expresado en primer lugar por la delegación de Brasil en cuanto a los proyectos de cooperación en el Atlántico Sur y adhiere plenamente a lo que esa delegación ha manifestado. También queremos agradecer la confianza depositada por las delegaciones que nos han pedido que continuemos en el buró y esperamos cumplir con nuestras obligaciones en ese órgano, tal como lo hemos venido haciendo o incluso mejor. En cuanto a la conducta seguida por varias delegaciones que abandonaron ayer el recinto, renunciando a su derecho a participar, pero al mismo tiempo privándonos a todos de funcionar de conformidad con los términos de la convención. Mi delegación reitera que entiende que se encuentra planteada una controversia que ha sido registrada en el informe de esta comisión y deberá ser resuelta conforme a los mecanismos que prevé el derecho internacional para hacerlo. En cuanto a la posición asumida por los países que dejaron la sala, mi delegación encuentra que en otros foros internacionales sostienen posiciones extremadamente responsables en la protección del medio ambiente y realmente no encuentro concordancia entre lo que algunas de estas delegaciones han hecho ayer y lo que hacen en otros foros. De modo que creo que está en todos nosotros procurar que en todas las cuestiones ambientales tratemos de mantener la coherencia y de este modo tratar de actuar responsablemente, sobre todo aquellos países que tienen, digamos, una tradición democrática que sostener. Retirarse del recinto no es precisamente la mejor forma de reflejar esa cultura. De modo que exhortamos a todos a reflexionar sobre cómo ejercer mejor nuestros derechos, respetando los derechos de los demás. Y, en fin, esperemos también que entendamos que la protección del ambiente y el uso sustentable de los recursos naturales requiere también de una conducta responsable y coherente en todos los foros internacionales en los que participamos. Y desde luego, lo que pasó ayer es un antecedente que todas las delegaciones, me imagino, se reservarán para ser usado en los demás foros. Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you. I have India.
Thank you, Chair. India would like to share its statement with the August body that the proceedings were conducted very, very excellent way. And we congratulate the commissions and its committees for their hard work and efforts made to successful completions of the complete workshops. India also suggests that perhaps a more balanced time share should have been allotted for scientific output, for perspective conservation management, and best practices adopted for the citizens management, so that the other countries can benefit from its findings in future. It may please also be understood that when delegates speak here, they speak out of the intent of their government. Therefore, in all fairness, we should respect each other for all future course of actions. Thank you.
Thank you, India. I have no contract. Yeah, I have Benin followed by Antigua.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais à nouveau vous féliciter pour la manière dont vous conduisez les travaux et pour la manière dont vous avez usé de patience jusqu'à présent, afin que nous soyons ici jusqu'à présent. Je voudrais remercier également tous nos prédécesseurs qui ont pris la parole, le Brésil, ainsi que tous ceux qui l'ont soutenu, en nous accusant, nous, les pays en développement, de n'avoir pas été responsables, de boycotter ou je ne sais quoi. Si nous sommes venus à cette situation, je pense que nous devons tous nous poser des questions. Chacun de nous ici présent a vu déjà dès le début de la réunion comment nous, les pays en développement, nous sommes traités. Personne n'a voulu prendre en considération tout ce que nous étions en train de dire, nos protestations depuis le début de la réunion. Tout a été fait pour empêcher les pays en développement d'être ici en majorité ou d'être en nombre suffisant pour participer au débat. Et comment voudriez-vous que cela puisse se faire? Si vous nous poussez dans nos retranchements, vous serez obligé de constater les résultats. Rien ne dépend de nous. En fait, je voudrais toujours les remercier chacun. Mais quand vous vous adressez à des gens, sachez que nous sommes délégués, nous représentons des pays. Ce ne serait pas normal que l'on traite mon pays d'irresponsable ou je ne sais de quel mot. Et je voudrais souligner, Monsieur le Président, que ces propos sont des affronts à nos pays qui avons pu faire le déplacement et même envers ceux qui n'ont pas pu, au vu de tout ce qui peut être étonnant pour leur difficulté à participer au débat. Donc, à l'avenir, je voudrais quand même que chacun de nous prenne conscience de cela et qu'on évite de traiter les pays en développement de ce que l'on voudrait, car chaque pays est souverain. Donc, je voudrais, Monsieur le Président, que ceci soit bien noté, que nous ne sommes pas d'accord de cet affront qui nous est fait. Merci.
Thank you. Antigua, followed by Saint Lucia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, it is very disappointing that after all the hard work that you have done, not only during this meeting, but throughout the trying periods that we have had, every one of us, you were able, with the support of the Bureau and the Secretariat, to keep this organization focused and going. To that, I would like to congratulate you and congratulate the Secretariat and the Bureau for the work, the sterling performance, the hard work which you and your team have done on our behalf. Mr. Chair, the events of this week you have demonstrated, and the Secretariat have demonstrated your strong ability to be neutral and undertake the proceedings of this convention within the framework of the rules of procedure of this convention. To that, I congratulate you on behalf of Antigua and Barbuda, and perhaps on behalf of the group of developing countries that were not in the room yesterday. Mr. Chair, we should not be ending the meeting the way we're ending it. There will always be benefits to some and disappointments to others. We have been disappointed on many occasions, but we take the high ground and congratulate those who may have their proposal going through. it is a sad day when countries ignore the principles of Committee of Nations and proceed to cast aspersions on independent countries. In that respect, I would like to align with the intervention that was made by the Indian delegation and the delegation of Benin. I would also like to say, Mr. Chair, that we are all here representing our personal interests. When I say personal, I mean our country's interests. International cooperation needs compromise. International cooperation means that countries must come with their interests and not positions. And we always strive to do that. In negotiations, for those of us who might have the necessary experience in other forums, you use all the arsenal in your little toolbox within the rules that are established in pursuance of your interests, not your position, your interests. I would like to recommend, Mr. Chair, in the interest of this meeting and the good prospect that we have going forward, in the interest of your legacy, because you have done a stellar piece of work for us, that we all withdraw all of these acrimonious statements on any other business. And we thank each other for the sacrifices that we have made to be here. We will live to fight another day. I've spoken to several members of the Buenos Aires group, and I've committed myself to work during the intercession to see how we can reach middle ground on some of these issues. Those closing statements will not help. In the interest of going forward, in the interest of respecting the principles of the Committee of Nations, I am recommending on the table now that we remove from our records all of these closing statements so that we can move forward and pursue the continued work of this august body.
Thank you. I have St. Lucia followed by Argentina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It would be remiss of me if I did not pay my respects and congratulations to our new chairman, Monsieur Diallo, and also our new vice chair, Mr. Gales. I have worked with both of them as a member of the Bureau, and I look forward to continuing this work in the next several years. So, Mr. Chair, I want to thank you personally and especially for the work you've done over the period of my time on the Bureau with you. You have been the most tolerant chairman. You have been the most gracious host we've had since we've been coming to Slovenia. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work you've done for this organization. But Mr. Chair, I also need to pay special thanks to the Secretary, Madam Secretary. I was part of a committee which interviewed the applicants in Shimonoseki for the position several years ago. And I was not biased, but I heard the position of this lady, this upstanding lady, and I was convinced that she was the best person for the job. And I want to congratulate her for the work she's done over the years. She's led us to a position where we have MOUs with international organizations and regional organizations. And I want to wish her the very best in her years to come. I was late in hearing that she had a birthday 2-3 days ago. And I want to wish you a happy birthday late. But happy birthday, and I hope you live to be 100. Truly, I hope you do. Mr. Chair, like my comrade, Commissioner from Antigua and Barbuda has said, I want to align myself with the statement of Antigua and Barbuda and Benin. And I look forward to 2 years from now, when we can elect him to be vice chair of the IWC. Thank you.
Thank you. Pass the floor to Argentina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we join each and every speaker addressing to you before, expressing our gratitude for your work throughout this session. I understand that what we are saying and the other matters is reflecting controversy. Nevertheless, it reflects what really happened. So I think that for the sake of transparency and in spite of keeping all of us a spirit of goodwill, what happened in Portoros stays in Portoros reports. So I think what we have been expressing under this agenda item should be kept in record, since at the same time it's evidence in the dispute that we think we had a fair answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Costa Rica.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Tomo la palabra para, en primer lugar, agradecerle a usted por su trabajo, por la forma en que nos ha guiado en coyunturas bastante particulares y, por supuesto, a Rebeca y a su equipo agradecer por todo el esfuerzo que han hecho. Para Costa Rica es sumamente duro lo que ha ocurrido acá. Creemos que no se hizo bajo, lamentablemente, un ambiente transparente. Pero por el otro lado, no estamos tan decepcionados porque sabemos que existen otros órganos en Naciones Unidas que están a punto, el próximo diciembre, de acordar protección, áreas silvestres protegidas y otras medidas de conservación efectivas para el mundo, sin importar lo que ocurra. Si aquí lamentablemente no podemos llegar a un acuerdo para un santuario, el mundo afuera sí lo está haciendo y lo va a hacer en Naciones Unidas. Así que es muy lamentable ver cómo un foro como este se desgasta, pero gracias a Dios tenemos la esperanza de que en los foros internacionales esta protección y esta conservación de y uso sostenible de los recursos marinos se lleven a cabo y sean concretados en estos foros en las Naciones Unidas. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Costa Rica. And thank you all for your statements. I pass the floor to Antigua and Barbuda. And then I have a scientific committee before an NGO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Antigua and Barbuda, on behalf of the Sustained Reuse group here, offered a way forward to relieve this commission and ourselves from those very unfriendly, those very vindictive remarks that were made upon our countries by several members here today. That olive branch was placed there in order for us to demonstrate to the international community that we can agree to disagree in this organization, but we are all aware that we're working to a common purpose for the conservation of whales and the orderly development of the whaling industry in accordance with our convention. Those delegations that have made those comments, unfavorable comments about our countries, were given a chance to understand that these comments are very disrespectful to our countries. They have doubled down and have said, yes, they want it to be a part of the record. If that is so, Mr. Chair, it is very important that every single one of our countries that has been accused must, at this point in time, lodge objections by way of intervention now with regards to those statements that were levied against us. Number one, we acted within the rules of procedure of this organization. Number two, we try all efforts to ensure that our delegations could be here so that we could properly debate this matter. During our private commissioners meeting, specific questions were asked as to the direction that the schedule amendment was going into. There were no satisfactory answer. To accuse us of being undemocratic, fledgling independent countries that has just break the yoke of colonialism and have a fledgling democracy that regard with jealousy so much, to accuse us of being undemocratic, to accuse us of not being committed to a cause, to accuse us of irresponsible behavior, to accuse us of everything except congratulating us for the effort that we have made to spend our monies to come here in spite of these hard economic situations that we're facing, is what we call in colloquial terms a slap in the face. A slap in the face. Let it be recorded, Mr. Chair. We are small countries, but we have led several fights in the international community when it comes to climate change responses, when it comes to issues of environmental protection. My Prime Minister and Antigua and Barbuda is the chairman of SIDS with regards to the issues relating to climate change. Our government joined with another small island state and have brought a lawsuit against certain members of the international community so that we can be identified as being the most threatened when it comes to the consequences of climate change. How dare these countries to point their fingers at us and call us irresponsible? It is rude, it is uncalled for, and it is spiteful. It is rude, it is uncalled for, and it is spiteful. I don't want to wash dirty linen in public. Some of these countries should examine their behavior in our Council of the Organization of the American State. Let the records of those deliberations speak for themselves. That is all I have to say.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Benin and then to the Scientific Committee.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je ne voudrais plus trop parler suite à l'intervention de mon collègue d'Antigua et Barbuda. Juste pour ajouter et que l'attention de chacun soit tenue sur un fait. Avant que nous ne venions ici, nous avions tous reçu des lettres d'accréditation de nos autorités que nous avons amenées ici. Et je voudrais donner le simple exemple du Bénin. Et avant que l'on ne vienne ici, la réunion a été préparée et nous avions soumis notre désir de participer à la réunion à l'instance la plus haute de notre pays. Et notre désignation a été faite en Conseil des ministres. Juste pour vous dire que ici, nous représentons nos pays et tout ce que chaque délégué d'un pays ou d'un autre aurait à dire sur un autre délégué, il le dit à l'encontre du pays. C'est pour vous réaffirmer le fait que c'est un affront de nous traiter d'irresponsables. Et je voudrais juste poser une question à l'attention de tout le monde. Si on devait rentrer et que à la maison ou au pays, dans le rapport, on mentionnait que dans les déclarations de clôture, nous avions été traités d'irresponsables, d'antidémocratiques. Je vous laisse la question. Merci.
Thank you. I will pass to the scientific committee.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Scientific Committee, Robert, Lindsay, and myself would like to express our appreciation for your guidance and support during these unprecedented times. The global pandemic and the difficult situation of the Commission's budget have and will continue to challenge us to make significant changes on how we conduct our work. Your leadership during this period has been key for the Commission and the Scientific Committee to move forward in a positive manner. And we wish you all the best in your new endeavors, and we hope to see you at the next IWC meeting in the beautiful city of Lima, Peru. We would also like to welcome Mr. Diallo and Dr. Gales as the new chair and vice chair of the Commission. We wish both of you a successful term, and we look forward to working with you in the next couple of years. And finally, we would like to thank the Executive Secretary and the Secretariat for their support of the Scientific Committee. The work of the Secretariat is essential to the Commission and to the SC. Rebecca's excellent leadership in a time when we had to shift from in-person to virtual meetings is particularly appreciated, as it was very important to the Scientific Committee to continue its important work in support of the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. I pass the floor to an NGO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This intervention could have been made under any of the recent agenda items, so I appreciate your indulgence in allowing me to make it now. I'm speaking on behalf of the Animal Welfare Institute and a growing list of NGOs who have endorsed this intervention. That list, once complete, will be submitted to the Secretariat for inclusion in the record of this meeting. We thank all contracting governments for their efforts to find a compromise solution to the budget crisis facing the IWC and are hopeful that this revised budget and associated budget reform strategy will create a foundation from which the IWC can build its financial resources. We do regret, however, that this compromise proposal includes changes to the contracts of the Secretariat staff that may lower their compensation. These individuals work far too hard to support the work of the IWC on behalf of all contracting governments and observer organizations to be subject to reductions in their compensation. It would be a shame to lose the expertise of such committed staff because all contracting governments could not find a way forward that preserved the funding for the Secretariat, including for staff salaries. I am grateful, however, for the generosity of my colleagues within the conservation and animal welfare community, who I am pleased to announce have committed nearly £42,500 to the voluntary funds of the IWC. This includes over £16,100 to the Small Cetaceans Voluntary Fund and over £26,350 to the Voluntary Conservation Fund, of which nearly half is earmarked for the bycatch mitigation initiative. A full list of all contributing organizations and the amounts contributed to each fund will be provided to the Secretariat very soon. While we share the frustration and disappointment that many of you expressed over the breakdown in decision-making that occurred yesterday, we remain confident in the future of the IWC and are committed to its ongoing work, including the work done by its Scientific Committee and Conservation Committee. This work includes the efforts to study and conserve cetaceans and to mitigate the ongoing and increasing threats to these species, including from bycatch. These funds that the NGO community are contributing to the IWC are given solely to support and advance these critically important conservation work streams and are made consistent with the legal and transparency requirements of the IWC and of our own NGOs. And finally, Mr. Chair, I should note that our organizations look forward to providing additional funding in the future to support the important work of the IWC. Thank you.
Thank you. In the meantime, there were contracting governments requested for the floor, so I will pass to Brazil, followed by Colombia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was asking for the floor just to congratulate the scientific committee, the work that has been done in the past by the former president, former chairman of the committee, and the work that is being done by the present chairman, the Brazilian scientist Alex Zerbini. We want to give all our support to him and to the work of the committee, together with his vice chairman Lindsay. And we are sure that they will do a great job. That's what this organization needs: more scientific research, more conservation actions, and I'm sure that the new heads of the Conservation Committee will do the same. They're very important items to be tackled. And I salute the announcement by the Animal Welfare Institute and congratulate them for this constructive approach to the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Colombia.
Gracias, presidente. Simplemente frente a la propuesta de Antigua y Barbuda, respetuosamente, quiero a nombre de Colombia decir que mantenemos nuestras palabras y creo que las posiciones de cada uno, porque no hay ningún tipo de pena a mantenerlas, deban ser conservadas en las actas finales. Gracias, presidente.
Thank you. I have Australia.
Thank you, Chair. Australia would like to take this opportunity to pass on a few thanks to particular people and to parts of our organisation who have ensured that the work of the Commission has continued to deliver outstanding outcomes, even through, as we're hearing, some troubled waters. I'm only going to name a few individuals. I've limited those mainly to individuals whose term is coming to an end. So forgive me if I'm missing anyone else, but I'll start firstly by thanking very sincerely Dr. Robert Sudam for his leadership of the Scientific Committee. He's been dedicated and really has provided excellent leadership, and we thank him so much for that over his extended term. We also add to our thanks to Dr. Lorenzo Rojas, who for a very extended period, it must feel a very long time to Lorenzo, has led the Conservation Committee with such dedication and success. So we thank you too, Lorenzo. We also thank with much gratitude the fabulous Dr. Rebecca Lent, our Executive Secretary. She's provided exemplary leadership of the Secretariat, and we thank her so much for her work. With that, we also thank the dedication, friendliness, professional behaviour, and always accessible Secretariat. Their work is indispensable to us, and we would not progress in any of our endeavours without their dedicated work. We thank them so much, and we share the sadness that we've had to arrive at through difficult discussions that that some of the terms of the secretariat staff are affected. It's difficult times, and we do sincerely express our thanks for their work. Lastly, Mr. Chair, we thank you. Your skill honestly made all the more impressive through delivering it in a tongue that is not your native tongue, has been extraordinary. You've had so many difficulties to deal with. You've handled them with skill, and we are incredibly grateful. We imagine you will sleep well for the following week after this meeting. But we thank you so much for your term and your warm welcome to this country on so many occasions. Everyone will remember you and your country very fondly. Thank you very much, Andre. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Australia and Nick. And indeed, I will sleep well for the next 1 week, so that I can then complete the last task I have to complete within the next 2 months. I'll explain when the interventions of NGOs are over. Please pass the floor to the next NGO.
Thank you, Chair. This comment is made on behalf of Global Guardian Trust and IWMC. Chair, by the time we will arrive at IWC69 in Lima, it will be exactly 30 years since I've been personally associated with the work of this commission. Have we made progress since then towards conservation and management of whales? Of course we have. It is certainly an overstatement to state that whales are much safer now than they were 30 years ago. Thinking otherwise would certainly not be a compliment to the astronomic work performed by the scientific committee, the Secretariat, and other institutions related to the Commission. However, a second question is warranted. Have those progresses towards the conservation of whales been realized to the detriment at times of the human rights of traditional and coastal communities, or to the detriment of the sovereign rights of small island nations and developing countries? Unfortunately, to this last question, the answer is also yes. We're still very concerned with the humiliation imposed on Aboriginal people to come to the Commission, meetings after meetings, and beg for the authorization to feed themselves. Independently of the objectives sought, such situation shall not prevail in any modern and comprehensive treaty. As well, we remain concerned by the sovereign nations being deprived of their rights to vote, and by the attempts to cast votes in their absence on issues of crucial importance to them. We hope, Chair, that during the next interim session and in future meetings of the Commission, the initiative for the conservation of whales, including any work done for clarification of the rules of procedure, will be based on an increased protection of both sovereign and human rights of those affected by these decisions. In closing, Chair, we like to express our highest level of appreciation. First, to you, and I think everything has been said about your ability to navigate in high seas and to manage to get the Commission, and in fact, all of us, safe out of rough waters. To the Secretary as well, and our wonderful staff, always there to assist and help during the preparatory phase and during the meetings themselves. Finally, to the interpreters and all those associated with the difficulties of maintaining the operations of an international meeting. And finally, our appreciation and love to the people of Slovenia. We've always been very happy to come back here, and maybe in 10, 15, 20 years from now, we will still have the opportunity to be back here in Slovenia, in Portorož, for a meeting of IWC. Congratulations finally to the Guinea and Australia for their respective appointment as chair and vice chair of the meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I have a contract in government, Mexico, so please pass the floor to Mexico.
Gracias, señor presidente. Bueno, quiero aprovechar, como lo hemos hecho todos los años, agradecerle a Rebeca su enorme dedicación, su diligencia, su maravilloso sentido del humor para dirigir el secretariado. En todo momento que estuve a cargo del Comité de Conservación, su apoyo y rápida respuesta a nuestras consultas se agradecen, porque podían ser a cualquier hora de la noche o del día y siempre teníamos la respuesta inmediata cuando despertábamos. Yo tendré la suerte muy probable de volverte a ver en San Diego o en Ensenada, pero también quiero aprovechar para agradecer al secretariado querido y adorado durante tantos años su dedicación para apoyarnos con tanta eficiencia. A todo el cuerpo de traductores también mucho cariño, que tenemos muchos años de trabajar con ellos. Gracias.
Thank you. Please, next, NGO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My comments will be on behalf of the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission. First, we'd like to again thank you and your government for the hospitality we have received these past couple of weeks. Everyone we've met within Slovenia has been very friendly. We felt very at home here. Thank you very much. Second, I'd like to congratulate the incoming chair and vice chair. We look forward to working with you both. Third, I'd just like to remind everybody as to why we are here. And this is stated in it's also stated on the IWC website. Aboriginal subsistence whaling. Regulation of Aboriginal subsistence whaling is a core responsibility of the IWC. That is exactly why each and every one of you are in this room, because of our whaling. We want to make sure that this commission and future commissions are there to make sure the scientific committee is funded to the level that is needed so that we can abide by the rules and regulations set by this commission. We have done so up to today, and we continue to do so for the future of our younger generation to continue to feed our people. We'd ask that each one of you consider bringing your funds to the voluntary fund for the Aboriginal subsistence whaling as well. Again, Mr. Chair, thank you for the work that you've done. And it was a pleasure to work with you and the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you. Last NGO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I speak as the Environmental Investigation Agency and on behalf of other conservation and welfare NGOs, and will provide a list to the Secretariat. As the 68th meeting of the IWC draws to a close, I want to express our collective thanks to everyone involved in the planning and execution of this meeting. After the global disruptions caused by the pandemic, we welcome the opportunity to meet again in person and carry on the important work of this commission. We were therefore extremely disappointed, as many of you were, over the disruption to proceedings that transpired yesterday. It is deeply regrettable that today this body is not celebrating the creation of the South Atlantic Whale Sanctuary, and we share the immense frustration of the Buenos Aires group and others that a vote on this schedule amendment could not take place. It should be the goal and practice of this commission and every individual contracting government to address disagreements through dialogue and deliberation, not desertion and disruption. We must do better. We can celebrate that the moratorium, one of the biggest achievements in animal and species conservation efforts, remains in place, and that steps have been taken towards a more conservation-oriented agenda of the IWC. And we can all celebrate the adoption of the resolution on plastics pollution by consensus. We extend many thanks to numerous people. We thank you very much, Robert, for your leadership of the scientific committee during a difficult period. We also thank Alex and Lindsay for their ongoing leadership roles within the scientific committee, and we look forward to working with you. We all thank the chairs, co-chairs, and vice chairs of the various subcommittees and working groups, both who have completed their service, those who are continuing, and those who have agreed to serve, and we look forward to working with you. To our indefatigable and excellent interpreters, we cannot thank you enough for simultaneously translating our words into multiple languages so that we can all understand each other. We also extend our thanks to the entire staff of the Grand Bernardine, as well as the audiovisual technology team. This meeting would not be possible without the exceptional work of the Executive Secretary and entire Secretariat staff. To the staff, thank you for your commitment to the IWC and for all your hard work you do daily to ensure smooth operation of the IWC and in preparation of the various meetings of the Commission and its subsidiary bodies, and always with a smile. This convention could not function without you. And to Rebecca, thank you for your leadership and guidance as the Executive Secretary, a job made all that more difficult during the pandemic. Your work negotiating a transition from in-person to virtual meetings, addressing the financial challenges facing the Commission, expanding outreach of the IWC to other multinational environmental agreements, and maintaining day-to-day operations of the IWC has been stellar. Finally, we thank you, Mr. Chair, for your hard work and dedication, not only during this meeting, but for the entirety of your extended term as IWC Chair. You had the very difficult task of leading this convention through the pandemic and carrying us through to a very difficult meeting. We thank the government of the people of Slovenia for making us so welcome for the third time. To the incoming chair of the IWC, Mr. Amadou Televi Diallo with the Republic of Guinea, and the vice chair, Dr. Nick Gales, we welcome and congratulate you in your new roles and look forward to working with you over the millennium. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for all your kind words of appreciation of my work. From my side, you will hear more during the closure of the meeting. You have surprised me a bit with this. Here, I would move to the explanation on recordings of this meeting so that we are also clear about this. In rules of procedure, we have the rule P2, which says that there is a chair's report, which has to be posted on Commission's website 2 months after the end of the meeting. So now you know what I will do after I sleep one week and for the rest of the time. This chair's report has also attachments and is a more detailed recording of the meeting. Then we have 2 other ways of recording the meeting. In line with the previous practice and in line with the practice at practically all international agreements, this meeting is being recorded. You might know this, but some you might not know this. It is being broadcasted live, so you can watch it on YouTube. And these broadcasts are then also kept there. And there is, if you go to IWC web pages, there is an IWC YouTube channel. So there, of course, everything is recorded what was going on during the whole meeting. Now to the document that we still have to adopt. I hope not work much on it, but adopt. Simply because some activities have to start, maybe not tomorrow, but very soon, sooner than in 2 months. This commission has a practice to adopt a summary of main outcomes, decisions, and required actions arising from its meetings. And this is a document, and that's basically the only formal thing that remains to be done for us in the afternoon. Now, Secretariat will, to my information, in 10 minutes, send you this document, this draft document, and you will have an opportunity that during your, let's say, working lunch, you look at it, and then this is the only agenda item before I close this meeting that we will still go through in our afternoon part, starting at 2 o'clock. I would also remind you that in the past we have developed an activity how to bond with each other a bit more. And I remind you all again that please participate in this whale drawing, and I forgot the full name with so many expressions, bonding initiative. And please, if you didn't do so yet, during this same work lunch, when you will read the outcomes, have some creativity. You can express your feelings as well. So write, draw something. We had some suggestions about how it has to be done. So if you can follow that, even better. And then bring your pictures closely before the end of the lunch to the Secretariat's desk or to somebody from the Secretariat, so that
Would be good.
yeah, Rebecca is saying if you can do it in if you can do a fast drawing in next half an hour, it would be excellent. And this is it. So with this, I adjourn this. I first close the agenda item 18, which is other matters, and I adjourn the morning session. And I wish you enjoy your meal. Bon appetit, dober tek, and see you here at 2 o'clock. Thank you.